So welcome to the video lecture on the subject mobile and wireless networks. So I am Dr.A.R.Arunachalam, professor in the Department of Computer Science at Dr. MGR Educational Research Institute, Tadayalambettu Phase 2 campus. So today I'm going to take a topic on Unit 1, which is about the types of wireless communication. So let's get into the video lecture. So today's agenda of mine is going to cover two important things. So first is about the introduction to wireless communication, and then I'm going to talk about the types of wireless communication. Right. So let's get into the introduction of wireless communication. So as you all know, wireless communication was actually introduced in the 19th century, and then later on, this wireless communication technology has been developed over subsequent years. So now, if you look at, I mean, it is one of the most important medium of transmission of information from one device to the other device. So we have been using this wireless communication technology on our day-to-day life, and this is one of the important medium of transmission of information from one device to another device. So in this technology, the most important part is that the information can be transmitted through the air, where you don't need any kind of a cable or wire or any other electronic conductors. So that's the difference between wired and wireless communication technology. Wired technology is where you have a physical wire, but that's not the case with the wireless communication technology. So in wireless communication technology, you don't have any kind of you don't have any cable or wire or any other electronic conductors. So especially it uses the electromagnetic waves. Something like infrared, radio frequency, satellite communication. Okay, and then it can uses various kinds of devices like laptops, Bluetooth technology, and as well as the printers. So I mean, in the present day, the wireless communication technology basically refers to different kinds of wireless communication devices, and as well as the technologies, especially which ranges from the smartphone, which is one of the important devices which we use in our day-to-day life, smartphones, and then we use computers, and then tabs, okay, or maybe the iPads, laptops, Bluetooth technology, and then the printers. Now you have been using a lot of wireless devices like a wireless printer, wireless speaker, wireless mouse, wireless keyboard. So now you look at, I mean, most of the devices now are wireless supported devices. So I mean, in the present days, now wireless communication system has become an essential part of various types of wireless communication devices. So one of the key advantage here is, I mean, it permits the user to communicate even from a remote operated area. That's been possible now. So now we can see a lot of devices which supports wireless communication. So something like your mobile phone, your cordless telephone, and Zigbee wireless technology, and then you talk about the GPS, wireless fidelity, satellite television, and then wireless computer parts. And then especially now we have been using the 4G network. Earlier we have been using the 3G, 4G, and then still 5G is going to come in India, and it's almost I mean 5G has already come in other countries, and now it's going to be available in India as well. And then we are talking about the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi technologies. So the different types of wireless communication. Now we look at different kinds of communication types. Something like infrared wireless communication, and then satellite communication, and then broadcast radio, and then microwave radio, and then Bluetooth, and as well as the Zigbee. So let's see each one by one. So satellite communication. So satellite communication is where something like it's a one type of self-contained wireless communication technology, where it has been spread all over the world, which especially allows users to stay connected almost anywhere on the earth. So the best example I could say is, I mean, the satellite TVs, the channels which you are using. So where a user from India can also watch the channel, and the same user can watch in a different country as well. So that when the signal is actually sent near the satellite what it does is, it amplifies the signal and send it back to the antenna receiver. So you actually have a dish antenna on your terrace, where it has a transmitter and receiver unit where it receives the signals from the, I mean, from the satellite, and especially that antenna is located on the surface of the earth. So satellite communication, if you talk about it, it has two important components. One is the space segment, and other one is the ground segment. So the ground segment is where it has all the equipment, so something like a fixed or a mobile transmission, and then reception, and as well as some of the ancillary equipments. And then space segment is nothing but which indicates the satellite itself. So it has two important segments. One is a space, and as well as the other one is a ground segment. Infrared communication. So infrared is nothing but it's something like IR. You call it as IR, where IR is an electromagnetic energy, where the wavelength is slightly longer than that of the red light. So the best example I could say is the TV remote which you are using uses this infrared sensor. No, where something like when you are using AC remote or maybe a TV remote. So that should be a best example for infrared. So it is used for security control, TV remote control, and especially for short range communications. Now, when you're talking about short range communications, I think infrared is the best suited one. And in the electromagnetic spectrum, so the IR radiation actually lies between microwaves and as well as the visible light. So they can be used as a source of communication. So that's about infrared communication. And then coming on to the broadcast radio. So actually the broadcast radio is nothing but the radio channels we are now listening to. So where the first was the first wireless communication technology, which is the open radio communication, to seek out widespread use, and it still serves as a purpose nowadays. Still it was a main. I mean, now also it has been used widely. So mostly an audio broadcasting service. Something like the radio broadcast sound through the air as radio waves. I mean, the radio broadcasts the sound in the form of air, through the air as in the form of radio waves. So I mean the voice or maybe the audio is being transmitted into radio waves and passes through the air. So radio uses a transmitter actually, which is used to transmit the data in the form of radio waves to a receiving antenna. So every radio will have a transmitter where it transmits the data in the form of radio waves. So radio broadcasting, if you talk about it, can be done via a cable FM, the net, and as well as the satellite. So a broadcast actually sends information over long distance at up to 2 megabits per second. So this is about AM and FM radio. And then coming on to the Wi-Fi, which is a wireless fidelity, which is nothing but it's a low power wireless communication, which now we have been oftenly using. Take for example, if you are using internet at home, you will be having a Wi-Fi router. So through which you connect to that particular router and you start accessing the internet. So that is used actually by various electronic devices like smartphones, laptops, etc. So in this setup, actually a router plays an important role. Something like it is a communication hub which works on the wireless principle. So these networks allows users to connect only within a close proximity to the router. So the only problem here is, I mean, Wi-Fi has a certain area where you can get connected to the router only within that particular close proximity. And then coming on to the mobile communication system, which you have been using the mobile phones now, which has been the major important device for communication. So now we have been using this mobile devices for making calls and then for internet as well. So the advancement of mobile networks is now enumerated by generations. Now we have been talking about the 4G and then as well as the 5G. So many users actually communicate across a single frequency band through the mobile phone. So the cellular and cordless phones, I can say, the two examples, maybe the best examples of devices which make use of this wireless signals. And then last one is the Bluetooth. So the main function of Bluetooth, actually now Bluetooth is now used by various devices. We have been using wireless speakers, wireless keyboard, wireless mouse, wireless earphones. Okay, so the main function of Bluetooth technology is that it basically permits you to connect to various electronic devices wirelessly to a system for transferring of data. So that's the main purpose, where you start transferring data between devices with the help of the Bluetooth technology. So cell phones are connected to hands-free earphones. So I mean mouse, wireless keyboard. So now we have been using mobile phones where you use a wireless headset, where you will be able to make calls as well as you will be able to listen to music wirelessly. So by using Bluetooth device, so the information can be transmitted from one device to another device. So, I mean, through this video lecture, we have been seeing about different types of wireless communication, which involves something like infrared communication, satellite communication, and then Wi-Fi, mobile communication system, and then microwave radio. Okay, and these are the important types of communication system. So, thank you all.